Right, quick breakdown then on the UFC 292 card in Boston, Massachusetts. Pay-per-view card's not really the biggest card, I don't think, in terms of names. But pay-per-view all the same. Main event, we got Sterling and O'Malley. Richard Shaw, give us your thoughts.
Thoughts? I think Sterling stops him. I think his wrestling's way too much. He's taking down. I think O'Malley was hoping Cejudo would beat Sterling
Because of the size.
Because of the size, I think that he thought his reach would be a better vantage point to fight Cejudo than with Sterling. But I think Sterling, I just think he's the best bantamweight there's been. I think he'll get hold of him, take him down, and I think he'll make it look easy. 2 rounds, I think he'll sub him.
I'm inclined to pretty much agree with you. The only thing that worries me with Aljo is his striking is very robotic, and I think he has got like holes in his stand up to the point where O'Malley could crack him.
If O'Malley cracks you, he can knock you out.
But what I will say is, I think for O'Malley, it depends how he's going to approach. Is he going to come out like a guns blazing, or is he he's almost going to have to be reserved, I think, because if he comes out loose and just looking for stuff, Sterling won't mess about it, like he'll just shoot. But I tell you what I've noticed on Sterling's vlogs is he's usually flat out talking about his weight and his constant videos of him on the scales. This is my weight. He's always like giving transparency about his weight. But then he put a vlog out yesterday, which was Monday, and he mentioned on here he'll show he's 152. Now, I know when he fought last time, I think at this point he was about 148. He said he was 152, and he weighed in the night after training 149, which is quite heavy. I know he cuts a lot of weight.
How many days away? 4 days away.
4 days away. So I am starting to buy into this. He's going to have a tougher weight cut than normal. But as you said, I think we've not really seen O'Malley like I've seen Sterling taking a couple of shots at him saying, O'Malley talks about how good his grappling coach is, and so I've subbed him twice in the ADCC. So I think if Sterling gets his back, I think he'll more than likely put him to sleep with a choke. I don't, like you say, if he does catch him,
TKO even, I just see it going to the ground, and I think if he gets that top position or gets it back, then get him off.
Yeah, I think O'Malley's a much better striker. I think Sterling's a much better grappler, but I think Sterling's grappling is a lot better to O'Malley than what O'Malley's striking is to Sterling.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you think Sterling will want to try and keep it on the feet with him at all? Just to because a lot of fighters, don't they? They try to show they can strike with him.
I think he knows now. I think he's kind of come to the conclusion, Sterling, that's his game. It's like if he gets you down, gets you back. 99% of people.
I think this will close out his bantamweight career as well. I think this will be the last fight.
Well, he has said, and he said on Ariel, he's 99% sure if he wins, he's going to move up and let Merab have the title shot. So if I had to bet, I would probably bet Sterling by submission. But I don't think it's not like a complete one-sided way to go in there. And I think O'Malley could catch. He's got to be very careful early on. I think he's just got to get him down and grind him early.
Yeah, I think Sterling will probably get the win. I'd like to see O'Malley catch him. I think it would be a hell of a story.
Could be a Conor McGregor moment.
Yeah, he could be like the next biggest star then if he did something like that, especially against Aljo. But
that's not a fucking beat round the bush. UFC obviously wants O'Malley to win, don't they?
100%.
That's their next cash cow. They kind of made Sterling like turn it around quick. He didn't want to fight till like November, December. They've made him sort of turn around in like 12 weeks notice. So they could get O'Malley in Boston. But I just think he'll have the making of him. Co-main event, Zhang Weili against Amanda Lemos.
Debate Weili.
Yeah, I don't think there's much to...
I think that's the problem with that division there. It's thin. If you look at the top of the tree, I think she's leagues of it.
Yeah, I don't think there's much to debate. I think the reality of it is you've got Ribas fighting Shevchenko in the rematch. I think whoever wins out of that she just as well go up and fight them. I think there's not a lot more depth there in that. Tell a lie, sorry, you have got Tatiana Suarez coming through though. She beat Jessica Andrade on the weekend.
Yeah, they ain't beaten.
She's Division 1 wrestler, unbeaten. So I don't know, I think that's a fight. That'll be the next fight for her probably, but...
Who's this Lemos fought then? I don't think I've seen her fight, to be honest with you.
Couldn't even tell you about it. Yeah. Not to cut the breakdown short, but I couldn't even... I've seen her fight, but I couldn't tell you like a I can't recall any big wins or whatever. I think, like you said, the divisions are sort of weak. No disrespect, but it's not weak, but it's like,
not weak. But I think
there's not many
contenders. Massive jump between like the top 2 and the rest of the division.
And I just think they kind of like when she beats someone, they got almost come up with someone else to beat her. We've got Neil Magni versus Ian Gary. Ian Gary was meant to fight Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal pulled out. I think it was last week. Neil Magni, he called Neil Magni after his last fight.
I think Magni's an easier fight for him. I think Gary will coast that one.
Even with the wrestling and Magni?
Even with the wrestling.
To Jeff Neal?
Yeah. Magni's not had a massive amount of time to prepare for a fight, so has he been in camp? I know people say, I'm always in camp, but there's a different level of intensity when you're preparing for a UFC bout. Ian's obviously been in camp preparing for Jeff Neal. I think I think he'll coast the win. Decision or knockout, but knockout later rounds, I think, for Ian.
You've got to give Gary a little bit of credit as well, in fairness, because like Neil Magny's been in there with some real good guys.
Oh, yeah.
And although it's short notice for Magny, it is short notice for Gary, right? Because like he's gone from fighting now a southpaw short stocky banger to now he's fighting a long rangely guy who's probably like Magny's probably going to try and put him on the cage and pin him and try and wrestle him.
Be interesting to see if Magny can pinch the takedown. He's dangerous on that ground
and see what he can do with it. Yeah,
I think Ian's defensive wrestling has stood up so far. So
where do you see Gary's future? Like, do you see him going to the top?
He's a talented lad, but I don't think he's well rounded enough to win the title.
No,
I think he's got top 5, but I think some of them boys, I think Kobe would be a nightmare matchup for him. Leon would be a nightmare. Usman would be a nightmare for him. Just on their style of fighting.
He's still very young. Was he 25, Gary?
Is he 25? I mean, he's training. He's not got like a settled base at the moment. He's training everywhere, is he? So I dare say, he's getting an elite level, sparring elite level training. As Jack just said, he's 25, so he's still maturing as a fighter. But I just think, particularly at that higher level, that welterweight division, is stacked full of guys that's been wrestling since they were babies. And you are playing catch up with that respect to get to that level of the grappling and the rest. His grappling, I dare say, is on a par with most of them. It's just that in between the striking and the
I think we need to see him fight a
good
wrestle heavy guy.
It reminds me very much of like Conor coming through. Everybody saying, wait till he fights a wrestler. Then he does Chad Mendes with these.
Yes, you know where you're at.
Then he does Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah.
We don't see enough of Ian really because he's not living in the country to know what he's doing training wise and all the rest of it. He may well have improved in the areas, and he's got enough defensive wrestling to be started because he's long in range. He's a nightmare for anybody on the feet.
I think the fight to make if he wins, I think he'll win. I think he'll TKO Magni. Is him against Shavkat.
Well, I mentioned that on Twitter after his last win. I got shot down in flames. Everybody's saying that they're teammates, but you're not teammates. You're floating around train. That's my biggest vice, and this is where people they're crossing over, train different gyms, and then they go, I can't fight him. I've trained with him. You've trained with him for 3 or 4 weeks.
I think what it is, I think Gary's base is that kill cliff, isn't it? I think that's his base with Henry Hoof and that's Shavkat's base. But they have done it before with Gilbert and Usman. Yeah. So you never know if they're with the
Gilbert be interesting fight for Ian.
I think they're friendly.
They are friends.
They are really good friends. Yeah, but I think if they get it with look, it's number 1 contender fight, winner's gonna have the title. Yeah. How do they say no then? Really. Yeah. But yeah. Honourable mentions on the card, you've got Pedro Munoz and Marlon Vera.
That's a good fight, that is. Honestly, I couldn't call that one, to be honest. I think that's a real 50-50 bout.
I think Chito's very good, but I think he's a 5-round fighter.
Yeah.
I think over 3 rounds, he always starts slow, and he kind of almost always gives up the first round. It was very tentative because he kind of downloads the data, as they say. I think Chito will probably spark him. If I'm honest, Pedro's coming towards the end of his time.
No, he performed well in his... What was his last fight? He fought well in his last fight.
Let's have a look.
How look we fought last? My mind's gone blank. But he come out with a really good performance. What was the fight before that?
No, so he got eye-poked by O'Malley.
Yeah, one before that.
He beat Chris Gutierrez by decision.
Yeah, and he kept on the feet with him with that. And Chito's more of a stand-up. It's a tough fight. It's a 50-50 fight.
If Chito wins and O'Malley wins, they're going to line that up, aren't they?
100%. They also put that on the card, I read. in case there was any pullouts.
Ah, right, okay, makes sense.
That they would
They
have
put it this way, they're not going to be in a rush to make O'Malley and Marab if O'Malley wins.
Oh, no.
They're not going to be in a rush to make that.
They're going to want to ride that
They're going to
wave,
make
aren't
Marab fight anyone else to try and pick up a lot because Marab would be a nightmare for him.
Who else is on the card?
Chris Weidman returning after his leg break 2 years ago.
Hard to call because you just don't know if he's going to be the same.
He's fighting Brad Tavares. Tavares is good. He's been in there with like Izzy and some of the good, but he's not
the highest level.
He's never been like a top 5.
That's going to be hard to come back from, isn't it? Trust the process.
Especially at his age, to have 2 years off like that as well. I mean, other than that, Gel Meerschaert, I don't know the guy he's fighting. Oh, you got the Ultimate Fighter finales matchups as well. But I mean,
you've been watching much of that?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah,
I kept the date of it.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it a bit.
I really do rate that Kurt.
Don't mention the bantamweight. That's this weekend.
Yeah, I do really rate. I do really rate that Kurt Holloway. I think he's looked really good. He beat Aljamain. He whooped Jason Knight, didn't he, last week? His performance between Aljamain and Jason Knight was night and day. Oh, excuse me, but it was, wasn't it? It was like Lee absolutely dominated him and then got caught in a submission, which he pulled out. And then just to watch him not even look for a takedown, BJJ black belt, and fight someone like Jason Knight who's got a chin of granite. I was really impressed with him, I got to be honest. Even Mendes, Chad, my mind's gone blank now. Who's his coach? Chandler was saying to him, it's like as if you've woken up, you've been playing possum all throughout the series. That is not what we've just seen for the last 6 to 8 weeks. You're capable of beating anybody if you perform like that. Yeah.
And I agree.
Joe, you want a gentleman's wager? We obviously can't bet because I'm a contracted UFC fighter, but do you want a little wager? Maybe a little... A little bet.
Go for it.
Will you go on, you can have a first pick main event.
Main event? Aljo if I get first bet. Fuck. It's got to be in it.
All right then. Well, we want to do a co-main, I'll pick Ian Gary against Magni.
All right, just to even it up, is it? I get Whaley then.
Damon Blackshear stepped in against Batista. Batista was meant to fight Cody Gambrandt, but he's out. And then Vera and Pedro. Exciting to fight Pedro. That's a good card opener, to be fair. That's as good a fight on the card. Yeah, there's our picks. We'll see what happens. I think it's a good main event, especially the one I'm mainly looking forward to. See how it goes. A classic striker grappler match. And it'll be a bit of a stick up to the UFC one for Aljo to win. If Aljo goes in there and dominates O'Malley, it'll be interesting to see what he says on the mic afterwards.
I quite like him as well. A lot of people don't, do they? They can't take to him. But no, Aljo as well. I like Aljo. Yeah, again, though, it's come back to it's not what the expectations. They like your brassy McGregors, your O'Malleys. Let's give that kid his due. Aljamain. He's beaten a who's who. Look at his resume. There's not a fighter in the UFC who's got a resume like him on current form. Yeah. He's beaten every champion there is. He's just beaten Cejudo. People saying, "Oh, this is TJ Dillashaw come back. He's going to beat him." All right, he was injured, but he made it easy with him. Cejudo was one where everybody thought Cejudo was going to win. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And he out-wrestled him and out-grappled him. When has that ever been done in his career? Whoops Cejudo. Whoops Dillashaw. Sandhagen he submitted. Sandhagen's a killer. Beat Peter Yan comfortably in the second fight. He hasn't... He's fought a who's who. He's obviously not going to fight Marab, but if he beats O'Malley, there's no one in the top 5 for him, so he's got to go up. No. You know what I mean? But good on him. And you can argue the best bantamweight of all time. It's not even an argument. I think he already is. Yeah. If he wins, I'm sure he would have, apart from Barrow, but in terms of level of competition. I always find him... He's beat Barrow as well, I'm sure. I always find him like a pleasant individual. I'm not sure he's not for a fight, but he's polite, he's well-mannered, he's respectful to people, He only starts talking shit if they're talking shit. And I think he's switched on to the fact that he's a champion. He's got to sell the fight a little bit. Add to this, man, when he's UFC champion, when we travelled in New York, he reached out to us and go, come and train in our gym. Yeah. There's not a lot of boys at his level going out their way to accommodate a young Welsh bantamweight. Was it? Yeah, he just randomly... He went on Twitter. And set us up a long one, and we trained with him. Yeah, so I like Aljo, and I hope he pulls it off. I hope he wins, and I think he will, even though I've had to pick on Malley. And my favourite Aljo moment is Marab in the Michael Jackson jacket. That's class. I wonder if he'll wear that to the fight on the weekend. I hope he does. Thank you for watching, guys. Let's go. Like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to check Oban's podcast out yesterday, and we'll be back next week for some more.